so a watershed has the potential, when it rains or snows, to drain to the lowest point. And where do you think the lowest point probably is?
Catawba River?
That's right. The lowest point would be the Catawba River. So it might empty into a storm drain, and that storm drain would be connected to a stream. And finally, that stream would connect to a river. Here in York County, most of us, the big river that the water goes into would be the Catawba River. There's a few of us that might live over toward the Chester County line, and then you would empty into the Broad River. But this is the Catawba River for us. So a watershed is an area of land that has the potential, when it rains, to drain to the lowest point, which here in our county would be the Catawba River. And then there's smaller watersheds and larger ones. So within the Catawba River shed, there's some minor ones, like Fishing Creek watershed. But Fishing Creek is part of the Catawba River watershed. And within this great big river system, the Catawba River, years and years and years ago, they dammed it up and they made a lake as part of the watershed, and that's Lake Wiley. So we're going to pretend this is Lake Wiley. It's part of the Catawba River. Because of that, Duke Energy uses that water there to make electricity that we all benefit from. If you live in Rock Hill like I do, I get my drinking water from Lake Wiley. If y'all live in York, y'all don't get it from Lake Wiley. There is I'm not sure the name of it. There is a little reservoir up here on Highway 5 as you go out. I think that's where y'all actually get your drinking water from.
Or a well.
Or a well. If you live out in the county, like Douglas probably has a well. Do you have a well? You have a well?
I have a well.
I don't like
So somebody's got a well. Somebody's got a well.
Yeah, not a whale.
So if you have a well, let's think about this for a minute. I live in the city, so when I flush my toilets, it's going to go to the water treatment plant. When you flush your toilets or run the sink and you drain it out, where does your water go?
The septic tank.
It goes somewhere.
Septic tank.
Septic tank. So some of you have a septic system in your backyard. Some of you, if you live in town like I do, it goes to the water treatment plant, and that's what this is. So remember, this is the scale of a watershed for us to look at. And we're going to talk about what goes on in this watershed today. And there's two sources of pollution in a watershed. One is point source pollution, and that's pollution that we know about and we can trace. And on this watershed, there's two places, and I forgot to put the little bridge right here. One is the water treatment plant, which is very necessary. I just talked about it. When I flush my toilet, or even up here, when we flush the toilet, we wash the dishes, we wash clothes. What else goes in there? Take a bath. When we brush our teeth, that wastewater goes to the water treatment plant. It's a great thing because we want that water cleaned up, don't we? So when it goes there, they clean it up to an acceptable standard that regulates, and then you know what happens to it?
Gets put
back in.
Gets put back in the river. Gets put back in the Catawba River. So, but they clean it up to a standard. So there's holding tanks where that wastewater goes. All right, and if you ever get a chance to go and tour the water treatment plant, that's a great thing to tour. They have these gravel, and they drain it through that gravel and filter out some of the impurities, and finally they even put some chemicals in it, and they clean it to that standard, and then they put it back out in the river. Another place where wastewater, which is point source pollution that we can trace, is factories. There's a lot like Bowater is a big one. And what do they make there? Paper.
Oh,
Do
gosh,
we need paper?
Yes. I
We
went
need
past
that.
the paper factory before. Oh God. I know it was like, it was terrible. You had to find something to put.
Well, Douglas, over at Bowaters, they have a license to clean up their wastewater that they used to make paper, And then when they clean it up to an acceptable, and it's not this car, I'm just showing it, but they have a license, and what they do is they feed it back out to the river, the Catawba River. They clean it up to an acceptable standard, and I think I might stop it, because I don't want it to flood.
You do.